Hi, I've surprised a few people in the Telegram chat that I currently like Avalanche, ticker symbol AVAX, currently at $66, going up 9%. I've surprised a few people because the price seems to be pretty high, right? And what goes up needs to come down at some point. At least that's the idea. If there's hype around something, at some point the hype might fade, just like here in February. And we can easily see a drop of say 55%, maybe even 80%. So why do I like Avalanche right now, technically speaking? We're only talking about technical analysis here, not about fundamentals at all. Avalanche, by the way, has a market dominance of 0.7%. It's not yet in the top 10 coins, but the market cap is already at 15 billion. So we're not talking just about a small mini project, but we're also not talking about the heavyweights of the Cardanos or BNBs of this world. Now we will not just look at the US dollar chart, especially not on the linear scale. We will look at logarithmic charts. And the main thing this channel is about are relative charts. So this is now the Avalanche price in Bitcoin. This is AVAX in Ethereum. So the relative performance to Ethereum. Because really what you want is, whenever you go down this list of cryptocurrencies and you don't just buy Bitcoin, Ethereum or Cardano, when you take on more risk by going lower on the market cap, you want that risk to be compensated, right? More risk should mean more performance, because otherwise what's the point? What's the point on taking on more risk when you don't get money for that? So here we see the relative performance to Ethereum, which at the beginning was not pretty at all. This was a 77% underperformance to Ethereum. And that's why those relative charts, they matter so much. If you look at the US dollar chart during the same time, we almost went flat. Just a little bit of a sideways trading range, it seems. But really, you missed on a lot of opportunity costs. You could have just parked it in Ethereum and made way more money. And so really look at the relative valuations. If you simply just want crypto exposure, just stick with Bitcoin or Ethereum, maybe Cardano. But the reason why you trade altcoins, especially when you're active in the market, is to make more than just Ethereum. But we will not just look at the Ethereum price, we will also compare Avalanche to other popular cryptocurrencies. This is now the relative performance to Solana. So the AVAX price divided by the Solana price to see how those coins relatively perform. We've also got AVAX versus Cardano. And last but not least, Avalanche versus Polkadot. These are some lines that I made in previous videos. So we can already see this resistance over here. It was pretty significant. Now, first things first, let's go to the US dollar chart. And obviously this run since the 20th of July, where all altcoins gained a lot of momentum, it was pretty nice for Avalanche as well, 577%. That's pretty good. And we can obviously see a similar run for other coins, right? Not as pronounced, but since the same point in time. Ethereum roughly doubled. Bitcoin made more than 50%, 63% to be exact. So at the beginning, Avalanche did not outperform Ethereum. It actually underperformed by around 22%. But then something happened. Then trading volume suddenly shot up. Look at this, right? Before we were pretty low on trading volume. And something happened here on the 17th of August that created a sustained elevated trading volume. And so the price also stays pretty high. And that's very special. Usually, if trading volume shoots up like this, it tends to decline over time and the price tends to decline as well. My prime example for this is Dogecoin. When the price shoots up and the attention goes up, the trading volume goes up, then we've got a temporary elevated price. But then once the trading volume goes down, the attention fades, the Elon Musk tweet isn't that interesting anymore, then what we see is a temporary decline in price, which can be more than 50%. And in Dogecoin, we see this several times. We can potentially, if you time this wrongly, lose 70% or even more. So always watch out for those elevated trading volumes. It means that we are potentially in a heated time where price tends to bleed whenever the attention goes down, the trading volume goes down. So this is a general pattern that you can find in all kinds of cryptocurrencies. And it's interesting that for Avalanche, for AVAX, this elevated trading volume did not decline. It stays pretty high. It temporarily declined and also had the price decline afterwards. But since then, it went up again. It even overshot the initial rally over here. And so that's very interesting. If you rank the top 100 coins by performance in the last 7 days, you see Avalanche as the winner. So clearly that's interesting, right? It's got quite a high market rank overall, but still during a rally, it's able to outperform the Shiba Inus of this world. Now, I find that pretty impressive. Now, still the question is always risk versus reward. How much can we actually grow? And I always look at this in terms of relative valuation. So here we've got Ethereum, and the potential outperformance here is at around 70% versus Ethereum. So let's just assume the rest of the crypto market is stable. Avalanche would increase by 70%. We are then at a market cap of 24. And this would put Avalanche, quote unquote, only at rank 11. And we would still be below Dogecoin. So this doesn't look entirely unrealistic to me. I could very much see that happening. Now, one important thing though is to try to find a stop loss, right? Because you don't want to get into something like this and then in case attention really goes down to potentially lose, 40% or maybe even 85%, right? You don't want to be the person that holds the bag when momentum turns around. So there needs to be a way to find a proper stop loss. One way to do this is with moving averages. So let's try to find the perfect moving average here. Again, on the relative chart to Ethereum. And let's try to eliminate the failed signals over here so that we have a good representation of those waves and we can exit the market whenever the price falls below the moving average. So this looks relatively good. Maybe something around 40. So the 40-day moving average seems to be pretty okay. Obviously, we do have failed signals over here, but we are really just interested in riding this wave. And so once we hit the moving average, we would get out again and we don't get any failed signals over here. We might even be able to get this a bit tighter, maybe over here, 35, something like that. So that way we can kind of extrapolate this a little bit. This is how the moving average could look like. And so we've got a potential risk of say 17% or so versus a potential reward of 73%. So that looks pretty attractive to me. So obviously I'm biased in this video. I do like this trade, but this is basically the rationale behind it, right? If you're wondering, why is Gerhard buying this kind of hyped up price over here? Why is this anything that might make sense? This is the reason. It's simply little risk versus comparatively high reward. But of course, it's a short-term trade. I don't hold altcoins for the very long term. I only trade altcoins when I see the general market, the general crypto market, to be bullish. And that's currently how I see it. I think Ethereum leads the altcoin market simply due to its high correlation with altcoins. Ethereum has a higher correlation to altcoins than Bitcoin does. And so I take Ethereum as a gauge to decide whether or not it makes sense to be in altcoins. And so when I look at Ethereum, I look at two moving averages, the 23 and the 39-day moving average. Those work best when you backtest trading according to moving averages. So you want to be in the market whenever the price is above the moving average. You want to be outside of the market whenever the price is below the moving average. If you backtest that strategy, those two moving averages, they work the best. And so now I'm in general bullish on the crypto market, on altcoins. And that's why I think taking a risk here and there might make sense. And Avalanche AVAX simply looks quite interesting. Now, I've also promised to look at relative charts to other cryptocurrencies. Here we've got the relative chart to Solana. So Solana obviously outperformed AVAX. Solana basically outperformed everything. It made almost a 100x in this year. So no matter what you compare to Solana, you will see a downtrend. But recently, momentum shifts somewhat, an outperformance of 130% in this last rally. Solana had quite a hard time. It's still got a hard time. Trading volume is going down. The network shut down. So that's not too great for Solana. And so Avalanche is outperforming over the long term. Maybe we can set a trading range over here. Look at the relative performance that we could potentially get, and that's 100% versus Solana. So versus Ethereum, we had a resistance at around 75%. Now here we've got the relative valuation to Cardano. Cardano being one of the largest coins nowadays. And since Cardano grew so much, we also see a long-term underperformance here. And it doesn't look like there is too much potential here. So maybe buying Cardano right now might not be too bad of an idea either, but that's for another video. This here is really about a short-term bet. over the next days and weeks, not so much about a long-term investment, because that's also in the end what technical analysis is best at. It's for short-term trading. It's not so much for long-term investments. The longer you go on your time horizon, the more it makes sense to really dive into the fundamentals and think about how general blockchains will be adopted and how they might compete to each other. This is now the chart of AVAX versus Polkadot, a ceiling at 30% outperformance, and the bottom, it does look scary. But again, we have to set stop losses for short-term trades, and that's exactly my plan here for AVAX versus Ethereum. If you want to get updates on what I trade, or if you're just looking for a community of like-minded people that trade altcoins, that discuss the general crypto market, feel free to join us on Telegram. We've got a channel, the Bitcoin Strategy channel. You can find us either by clicking the link in the video description or simply by searching for Bitcoin Strategy within the Telegram app. We've also got an announcement channel. Feel free to search that as well. This is for video announcements, or if you just want my personal opinions condensed in one channel, that's the Bitcoin Strategy News. If you've already liked the video, thank you for that. YouTube will then help to grow the channel. And if you haven't yet, feel free to subscribe as well. I publish a video every single day. Thank you and see you next time. Bye bye.